Well, ethical and bias-free leadership, that's the topic of training being put on by the Jewish Federation of Greater Toledo. It's for law enforcement and community leaders. This afternoon we have David Tullis and Daniel Pearlman to talk more about the importance of these kinds of trainings, especially now. Daniel, I'll start with you. The events in Israel in this past week has created a real talking point of the Palestinian Hamas situation, Israel situation, and there's a lot of anti-everything coming out right now, but the anti-Semitic stuff just shocks me right now.
Yeah, no, it really is shocking. I mean, I think everyone, regardless of their background, should be in support of Israelis right now who were, suffering intense terrorism attacks. Over 1,000 men, women, and children, civilians, were murdered, were butchered by Hamas.
Atrocities.
It's really awful what's been going on there. Yeah.
And in your law enforcement field, Dave, talk about what you've seen over the years and what this training is, especially talk to your law enforcement friends and what is supposed to be done here.
Well, first of all, since this happened, I've been contacted by a lot of the law enforcement leaders in our communities telling us we're here to support you, and that's been very gratifying. They called out, they texted, and said, whatever we can do, and of course we are asking for extra patrols around our Jewish facilities here in Lucas County, and they were more than gracious to do so and to commit to that. So,
the training coming up next week,
yes.
Talk about what that is.
Well, it's kind of timely. This training was set up months ago,
yeah.
And it's basically as what you do matters, and it talks about what happened in Germany in 1933 to 1943, and how did police officers and politicians and all types of occupations that they were sitting there being biased, enjoying a good society, and then all of a sudden, within 10 years, they're believing the Nazi ideology, and they are eliminating a whole race of people. And we have police officers that are supposed to uphold the Constitution, protect their community, and then they move to where they're pulling people out of their apartments and out of their homes and putting them on trains to ship them off to their death. And it's kind of like we study history so this will not happen again. It kind of with the mantra, never again. And so you study history and you try to understand how that happened. And when I was a leader in law enforcement, one of the things I always thought was important was in community engagement, and know what our community is facing. And our Jewish community, what we're facing, what's the Jewish community facing. And we're 2% of the religion, and we occur 60% of religious hatred, and that's FBI statistics. And so it's important that we get that information, so what happened with the Holocaust doesn't happen again, and then now look what happens. This is probably the most deaths that occurred for a Jewish faith and the Jewish state since the Holocaust.
It is indeed, and it's actually one of the worst terrorist attacks in human history, what occurred last Saturday. I think it's important to remember that, what happened during the Holocaust, Germany was the most advanced society in Europe, and how in a matter of 10 years did it go from being basically the America of Europe, right, to being the Nazi regime and literally executing, an entire people. It's important for our law enforcement to understand that just how Germany was once, so advanced, and they were able to get, down to the lowest levels. It's important to make sure that we don't let that happen ever, in our country. And we really are privileged to live in a beautiful, democratic country, and we just want to make sure that it stays that way.
The day of rage, or the day of jihad, is supposedly today. I know law enforcement across the country is on alert for that. And it's been a quiet day so far, but things could change tonight. Now, last year we had a demonstration by the Nazis, correct?
It was actually in July, just a few months ago. Neo-Nazis, 16 to 18 neo-Nazis came to town, first to protest against the Equality Toledo, Toledo Loves Love Wall celebration, and then they came to our Jewish Toledo campus also to protest.
How were you guys prepared for that when it happened?
Well, to be truthful, we didn't know about it, but Toledo did, because they weren't going to be protesting the Jewish synagogue. And what happened was the weather was bad, there was a low turnout, and nobody was paying attention to them. And they heard that they were going to go and protest the Jews. And I tell you, law enforcement, Chief Paul Long got a call from Toledo that they were en route to their jurisdiction. He called me immediately. I was at home. But by the time I got out of my house and started heading towards the campus, they were already gone. There was nothing going on, thank goodness. But they got out, they marched with their tiki torches, and they kind of filmed it, and then they put it on their website, and they said that they disrupted a Jewish event, and really they probably scared a raccoon out of a garbage dumpster, and that's about it.
Well, you know, we had the Nazis had a demonstration a few years ago, and it created a lot of riots in Toledo, and then they came back a second time, and I think we all learned that, like, the best way to handle it is just ignore them.
Ignore it.
Don't give them TV coverage, or not the extent we gave them the first time, but just let them be idiots and move on.
For sure, absolutely.
Yep.
Do you feel that the Jewish community in this area is being threatened at all?
You know, I think the Jewish community was really worried when the neo-Nazis came to town, you know, but we handled that quite well, I think. And then moving forward, regardless of, you know, what happens in the Middle East, we are worried that there will be an increase in anti-Semitism locally and nationally. We've seen this happen also in 2021 when there was a war between Israel and Hamas. At the end of the day, whatever happens 6,000 miles away should not affect the safety and security of Jews here in America.
Do you ever wonder why can't we just get along? I mean, we've gone through an issue with the African American community, the Muslims after 9/11, the Jews in this circumstance right here. I mean, why in the world can't we just judge a person for who they are?
Their character. We all have something in common, and we all care about our families. We all care about providing for our families, and we all have different beliefs, but that doesn't affect, it shouldn't affect anybody except for themselves, and we should not, there should be no hate. And unfortunately, law enforcement has to be there to protect that and to stand by that. And in this case, they didn't do that with the Holocaust. And we don't want that to happen again.
And you're not saying at all that this is a problem at all in our community. It's strictly just to help everybody brush up on it.
You study history, so it will never happen again, and you learn from that, and you understand how it happened, and that it won't happen again.
Let's show the graphic again. The event is coming up. There's 2 sessions on Monday, one on Tuesday, and there are the times for that at the temple in Sylvania.
Yes.
So, and it's free, doesn't cost a thing.
Yes, and you can sign up. There's sign up on the, I think I gave that to you guys, but you can call the Jewish Federation and you can get that signed up. And
you can also go to jewishtoledo.org and sign up on our homepage.
Okay, great. Daniel, David, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
thanks
much.
for
Good
having
topic
us.
today, very timely for sure.